podcast where Belgium tech meets Belgian fries. I am Sebastian, your host. We're here to talk with startup founders about their early days, how they turned ideas into products and tackled the challenges of building and selling the first version of their app or platform, the MVP, the minimum viable product. And because my best ideas come while waiting in a frituur, we'll be doing this over fries and a favorite snack. Today we're at Frituur de Arena in Antwerpen and we're about to dive into some golden fries and some golden ideas. Our guest today is Amra Dorjbayar, co-founder and CEO of Wobby. Wobby is your AI workspace for gathering information, making sense of it and turning it into useful content, built for those who research and so much more. But Amra can tell me more about that later on. So as Belgians, we really feel at home here in Frituur. And Amra, before we talk about your great idea, I have a first question for you. If you had to explain a frituur to somebody that doesn't know the concept, how would you do that?
What is a frituur? Well, it's the only place in the world where you should buy French fries. McDonald's French fries are not real, they're fake. And French fries are not French, they're Belgian. And so if you really want to taste that authentic Belgian feeling and have a real fries, then that's where you go. And just being here, just the smell of it, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I've been here for a while already today, and I can't get enough of it.
I think the just the smell calms me down because I was quite nervous. I have to do this podcast, but it's like feels like kind of home. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, that's indeed one of the reasons also why you wanted to do it here. What is your go-to frituur order?
I always order the same thing, and I think everyone in Antwerp pretty much orders frietje met stofvlees. These are, fries with stew and mayonnaise.
Okay, that's your go-to. And do you also have a go-to frituur near your place where you live, or?
There's always the one, it's called number one frituur. Nummer één frituur. Center of Antwerp, with the very famous Maria, who's always a bit sarcastic, but also very pleasant. I grew up around the center of Antwerp, so those were legendary figures for us.
It's a really famous frituur in Antwerp, indeed. So you also ordered indeed the fries, stofvlees, the stew, some mayonnaise.
Yes, exactly.
I went for some chicken nuggets. I always try to stick to just one little side dish because otherwise this podcast will give me, some health issues maybe. So the chicken nuggets, it is for me today. All right, super nice. Let's dive into Wobby because that's the main reason why we're here. Can you explain Wobby in one simple sentence?
Well, Wobby transformed a lot. So Wobby now is a platform where data teams can build AI agents for their structured data. That's one sentence.
Okay, yeah, indeed. And where did it start out? Because you said indeed 1 year ago, it was maybe a bit different then.
Yeah, definitely. I think we learned a lot throughout this journey. And like any kind of startup or idea, it always starts with a frustration. In my case, it was my frustration working as a data journalist at the Belgian public broadcasting VRT. And at some point I was just so frustrated that I was not doing so much as journalism, but more just trying to find some useful, interesting insights in very complex government data. And I just thought like there has to be a more efficient way. There has to be an easier way so I can actually focus on the story. And this is something that I've learned that which is universal for all kinds of business and practices. You need data. Everybody knows that you need data and insights from data so you can make better decisions. But we see that a lot of companies or organizations are, running behind trying to analyze this very complex data. They have like a one analyst, or they have some dashboard set up, and we just wanted to make it easier for them.
All right. Really nice. So it came from a frustration or a pain you had within your own position. And that was 2 years ago?
That was, about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Around this time, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a little celebration then here
it's
today.
actually about, I remember around this 2 years ago, around this time, me and my co-founder, we were always at the Wasbar. It's like a coffee place in the middle of Antwerp. We just had this idea, or I had this idea, and I remember Nathan, my co-founder and CTO. He was still doing his master's at the university in Leuven. And one day I just called him up, said, "Hey, I have this idea." And he was in the middle of his exams, and I think he just got so distracted by this idea. He moved everything aside. He skipped all his exams and just focused on this idea that became Wobby today.
So he's kind of like a college dropout then?
He's definitely a college dropout.
That's like a US story you often hear, but now we have one in Belgium as well. And how did you guys meet, or how did this founding team came together?
Yeah, and it's actually funny because my co-founder is now only 23, but we've been working together almost 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
So I know him for quite a long time, and we've done a lot of interesting stuff. Like one project that I asked his help with, because I'm the idea guy, and but I need people who can make my ideas actually a reality.
Yeah.
And I met Nathan very accidentally through a Clubhouse room. I don't know if you remember
the
this
audio app.
app.
Oh wow!
Yeah, very random.
So it did work out for somebody, that app. Then.
Yes, exactly. And
wow.
And then at some point we met. We even did a whole project around. We made a documentary together in Israel and Palestine, which was one of the worst experience I had. It was one of the most stressful project that I've ever done as a journalist.
And how was Nathan involved in that documentary then?
Yeah, he came as a camera guy. He's like, "Hey, you have a camera? Okay, let's go." But we were with 6 of us, and there was a lot of tensions and stressful situations. And I remember feeling, okay, Nathan, this guy is the only one that I can actually trust and rely on.
Okay, yeah.
And if you've been through this kind of very stressful situations together, then I knew, like, if I go through a startup or build a startup, which is also a very stressful and roller coasterish endeavor, I knew that, I could do it with him. And so
wow, because he's a pretty young person.
He's a pretty young person, yes, definitely. Yeah. But we've done a lot of things. We've built the Flemish, the Checkers, the Flemish fact-checking platform.
Okay.
From scratch, together with our other founding engineer, Quinten. We even scraped the entire Telegram to find Russian disinformation.
Okay.
In Flanders, and he would help me all with this kind of, with the technical stuff, and I would come up with the idea, and he would execute it.
Yeah.
And that's the type of people that you need to do this.
Yeah, for sure. So then at one point you land on a Wobby idea.
Yeah.
You pull Nathan out of college. Were his parents, how were they reacting on this, or you don't know?
I think from their point of view, it's like that could be like an American dream story, like a college route. I think they were fine with it.
Yeah, for sure. If I see how Wobby is doing today,
because even if it fails, it's an experience that you cannot win otherwise. You cannot get out otherwise.
Okay. So you started out with this more journalism approach, researching and data, and now today you're more focused on creating AI agents. How did you transform from that MVP idea to where you are today?
Well, I think the most important thing that you do as a startup, as founders, is initially you're just doing stuff that create information. So you're building your MVP. You have some idea about what your customers might need. You have some feedback from your customers or potential prospects to say, "Hey, that would be really cool," but you actually have to validate it. And so throughout these 2 years, we never stopped building. Every week we shaped new features and always testing it in real life. How are they being used, and for what purpose are they used? How valuable is this for them? And then you try to maneuver also. Okay, it's valuable now, but how future proof is it? How is it possible that this feature becomes so commoditized that the value will be perceived as low? So all these factors, you try to see the issues, but also the opportunities, and try to maneuver a way into that. And in our case, number one, we saw that journalists or the market for journalism, there isn't much money. You can't really build a viable business when your end customer are journalists.
Okay,
yeah. So
you need money.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And another thing is also when it comes to what AI is capable of and what people expect that AI is capable, there's sometimes a gap. Sometimes people just want magic that isn't there. And so, we had to then find, okay, who are the people, what do they need? So in general, everybody needs data insights. But we understood a couple of things that in order for these end users to give this magical experience, we cannot give them like a generic data analytics tool. They have to be set up, made specifically for their business case. The data must have context about the business goals and business definitions, what means what, in order to give them that magic experience. So that's why we pivoted more, instead of for the end user, more for the data team who are able to set these things up. And especially 2025 is the year of AI agents. 2024 was RAG. 2023 was just the chatbots.
Yeah.
And I think in one way we went through all of these ways, but now we are also kind of able to see not only what's possible now, but what's coming.
Yeah.
We thought that certain AI revolution or trends would happen much slower than what it actually did. And so, that's part of the game. We're just trying to understand what's happening, or what would be the opportunities, what would be the risks, and try to build a business out of it.
Yeah. And how do you manage the fact that your first customers, they started with the first version and now you're evolving more to AI agents? Are they also evolving with this new platform, or are they like, hey, we signed in for this part and now it's becoming something totally different? Is your pricing changing? All that kind of things. How do you manage that? You have a fast evolving project, which is, I really believe that you have to do that, but how do you then manage early customers versus, the evolution you're in right now?
I believe that you have to be quite bold with it. We were very honest to our customers and said, hey, we were building this, but actually there are tools that are providing this, and these are probably the tools that you should use. We're building this, and for these specific use cases, you can still use us. and half of them joined the board, and the other half didn't.
Okay.
And that's actually more than we suspected would happen. And
they kind of shared your vision, and they joined because of your vision more than what the product was at that moment, maybe, or
and I think from our perspective, we built a lot of features based on user feedback, what they needed, and trying to understand exactly how they would use it. But then we see that a lot of these features that they need are now commoditized, like something like deep research. ChatGPT has deep research. Google has deep research.
Yeah.
And we had, I think, about 2 months before it happened, we had like a first version of this deep research concept. And it was amazing. But then after a while, it becomes like, oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Indeed. You have to find ways to differentiate yourself from ChatGPT, actually.
ChatGPT and many other tools. I think it's just in general important to what are the elements that's going to be so commoditized that the perceived value will be low, and what are the areas that will still be valuable.
Yeah. And maybe where ChatGPT falls short, or where it's just one big open playground, and you narrow down on a particular use case or target group. It actually reminds me a bit of maybe 5-10 years ago. We had a lot of new SaaS solutions, software startups coming up, and they wanted to replace Excel because a lot of companies were working on email and Excel, and then they started making all these tools. Now maybe that can be the next thing, where you have startups that say, I want to replace ChatGPT and give you a more tailor-made solution.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be maybe.
And these are like one of the most important learnings that we had. So a tool that analyzes any kind of data doesn't work for every type of data.
Yeah.
And so that's why we learned, like, okay, if a company wants to get useful insights from their data, obviously they have to be clean, but also it needs a lot of specific business context about the company, and specific definitions of what the data means, so that the AI agent is capable of giving useful insights. Otherwise, everybody is trying to solve this problem, but no one has really cracked it in a generic way.
Yeah,
so that's why I decided, okay, we'll help AI data teams to build these agents in a more tailored and in a tailored way, where the AI agent actually understands the data.
Yeah, I see. All right, very interesting. I want to go once more again back to that MVP.
Yes.
I'm curious, how long did it take from the idea ahead to having an MVP and a first customer?
Okay, so
Can
let's
you put a timeline on it?
Yes, definitely. I can tell you exactly when.
Okay.
The first idea that popped in my mind, it was on Christmas Eve 2022.
Okay.
I sent a message in the group chat with Nathan and our founding engineer Quinton. I have this idea. I will tell you more about it soon. and then in January, I pitched the idea. They were on board, and then we started just kind of hacking it.
And you were the founding team, the three of you.
Yes.
But Quinton is also a co-founder, or?
No, he's a founding engineer.
So he was just there from the start?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think the first version that we showed to anyone, of our idea, what was it basically? You can connect the data and you can ask a question, and AI will generate a Python code that will then do like a pandas operation and gives you the answer. That was essentially that. And our very first version was just a Jupyter notebook.
Okay.
And when we showed this Jupyter notebook to someone, couldn't really understand the concept of it. Then we realized, okay, it actually needs a UI to make it happen. But this person did point out to, you should apply to iMake iStart, the startup accelerator. And the deadline was very short, but so we hacked together in 1 week, like a very simple proof of concept within UI, again, where we had like one data and you could ask, I don't know, 2 or 3 questions and it broke down. But it was good enough to create to record the screen video of it. And this is how we pitched it to iMake iStart. And when we got accepted, that was the actually start of Wobby. That's when we decided, okay, I'm going to quit my job. Nathan's going to quit his university. Let's go full into it. Yeah.
And then how many months later were you after that text on Christmas Eve?
That was, I think we were accepted in February.
Okay.
And then
1 or 2 months later.
Yeah, 1 or 2 months later.
Awesome.
And then, in March, we actually started the company. In May, we had our actual MVP, like a working MVP. And this is what we pitched to our first customer. And I think for us, it was always, for each prospect or each customer that we closed or that we convinced of our vision, it was always, this is what we have now, and in 3 months we will have this.
Yeah.
And then in the future we will have this.
Yeah.
And really trying to sell not just what it is now, but it's actually a future vision. And we were quite successful in that, being able to sell that vision. Okay. And and also making sure that when we promise, like in 3 months, there will be these features, to make sure that we have it.
Yeah.
And to the next customer would say, okay, these are all the features that we have, and in 3 months we'll have these.
Put the pressure on the product team.
Yes.
Nice.
Our product team, it was just us. So.
Yeah, it was just you, the 3 of you. And when did you close that first customer then?
I think it was in May when we had our first MVP. Yep. We had our first conversation, a meeting with our very early first customer, which was Belgian, the news agency.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And then a month later, we could
sign them.
Yeah, we could sign them. I think it was early July.
It's a pretty good timeline.
Yeah, and then we said, okay, in September we'll have these features, and we had them.
Yeah. That was also due to your connections maybe within the journalism world?
Yes, obviously. But I think for us, journalism was the most logical first step, because I had a lot of experience in it. And from there on, but we understood very early on, okay, we'll start with journalism, but this is actually a universal problem, and we can solve a lot of, we can help a lot of companies and industries get insights from their data more efficiently.
Yeah. Are there any customers you have today that you didn't expect, like, did not see that company from that industry coming, and now they're a customer in using Wobby?
One of the customers that we did not expect was Zimo, which is like a real estate listing company. But afterwards, it does make sense, because, pretty much all these, pretty much every SaaS company is a data company.
Yeah.
They collect a lot of data, they have a lot of data, and being able to use them in a smart way to get insights, so they can see, okay, where should we focus on, what should we do, but also using, offering AI features on their data to their customers are something that they're very interested in.
Yeah. So that maybe also opened your eyes that when Zimo came in, you could go broader than only journalism, or...
I think beyond that, we also had other types of customers for example, industry federations.
Yeah.
They're essentially like doing all kinds of survey and survey. They collect or they let surveys be done and they share it with their customers. And yeah, so that was also very interesting. We just understood that, everybody needs data. Everybody needs data insights to make better decisions.
Yeah. And okay, interesting. So you said you sold to a customer and you said in 3 months we will have this and then we will have this. How did that work out for the product team? In what way were they working? Did they have some kind of structured weekly sprint way, or was it just throw it on top of the pile of work and they try to do as much as possible? Or how did you manage that whole aspect of the business?
We have indeed weekly sprints, which is led by Nathan, the CTO. And every week we gather together Monday. Okay, we're going to brainstorm. These are the things that we need to do, put it in the backlog, and then just rush it. In the early days, because it was only the three of us, it was not that structured. It was just day and night. We worked in the weekends, Teams calls at 10 p.m. And that was something that was very regular for us. Well, we were working very hard, but I think it was also the most fun time we had.
Yeah. All right, cool. How is the team structure today? How did it evolve?
Well, now the team is a bit bigger. We're still not like a huge corporation or something, but we have weekly meetings and we have weekly sprints.
What kind of profiles do you have now in the team? It's more a lot of product engineering, or do you also have? You're obviously doing sales and all the CEO kind of things. Do you have other profiles as well?
So Nathan is doing, leading the product team, which consists of a full stack, a front end, and a data and AI guy. And that's and Nathan is both front end. He is also a full stack. From my end, we recently have a new co-founder, Sebastian, who is the Chief Growth Officer.
Okay.
And another Sebastian. We're trying to make it a viable business.
Okay, cool, nice. Cool. About the product that you built at first version, did you initially already set it up in a scalable way, or were there a lot of duct tape moments where you were like, let's do a hotfix here or patch it up there? Don't know if you can answer that, but
I think the main thing for us was a couple of motto or something that we would say very often was one, let's make it work first and then optimize it.
Okay.
So not to make it too much scalable. It just doesn't make sense. And also, another thing that we used to say, like almost every day, was like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And we always did. And that was the great thing of having this, very talented team, is that having that trust that, okay, we'll figure it out. Not setting it aside, but we know that we can figure it out, or we have the talent and the skills to do it. And that's an amazing feeling to have. Like, even if it doesn't work now, but we know how to make it work, and we'll figure it out.
Okay. That's a bold thing to say, but indeed, if you have a nice and a good team, then you'll get there. All right, cool. Okay, so we covered a bit the origin story, product team. Also, something really interesting in a startup's journey is money, or how you funded everything. How did that journey go for Wobby? I know you recently raised quite some money, but how did you start out and how did that evolve?
So essentially, For me, this is one of the most interesting thing throughout this journey is how to get out of this kind of a catch-22 loop. What I mean by that is, so you as a founder, you have a dream, a vision, like I want to build this product. But to build this product, you need people, and you need money, right? And so you need investors. You want people to share in this vision, and they can fund you, so you can hire a team and then build it. But if you're talking to any kind of VCs, like the first thing that they will actually want to see is that you actually have traction, meaning customers. So the customers so you need customers, but to get customers, you need a product. And so that's like a catch-22 loop. Like it's almost like an impossible loop. Like how can you find customers if you don't have a product? And how can you build a product if you don't have investment and so on? So for us, I think the way for us to get out of this loop, number one was validation from iStart, who said, okay, I believe in your vision. Here is 50K. Built that dream.
Yeah.
That was for us the first validation of, okay, we're actually going to.
That was the first amount of money you got to start doing something. Yeah, IMEC.
And with that money, what we could do was only pay our founding engineer. We initially did not pay ourselves. And then you start to you have a little bit of runway, and then you start to try to find your first customers, your first customer. And our first customer, Belga, was very quick to be convinced. They really liked our idea and our vision, and they said, "Okay, 36,000 a year. We're willing to pay for it."
Let's go.
That was another boost.
Yeah.
And because now you have validation from both sides, like one investor has validated, okay, believe in your vision, and you have a customer. And then the next step to convince another investor becomes, less difficult than before. And then, little by little, you meet a lot of VCs and angels, and really try to find who are the right partners for us. And we had some angel investors, and then later also our seed investors, Shaping Impact, V Ventures, and also iStart. That's how we did it.
All right, nice. Yeah, that's nice story that you have that trust from the incubator, the accelerator.
Yeah.
It's probably also, I guess, good advice for starting entrepreneurs if they don't really have a lot of own money or not willing to put it in there.
It's beyond just money. It's because advice, both Nathan and I, we have zero experience in entrepreneurship. I was always doing all, in journalism, and it's a world far apart. So actually jumping into it without experience, without knowing how things work, and you really need good guidance that can help you maneuver through all the obstacles, because there are millions of ways how a startup can fail.
Yeah,
and only a few ways for it to actually succeed.
Because maybe as a journalist, you also had to figure out a lot of things yourself.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine that job is. Maybe you did learn some things from the journalism part, and you could also bring it into the startup environment, where you also basically just have to figure out a lot of things, hiring people, salaries, sales, business, all that kind of things.
I think the only useful thing that I could take from journalism is being curious.
Okay. All right.
And that's how does this work, and how and I always try to find this is one of my mottos, get to know the box and then get out of it.
Okay.
What I mean by that is if you want to, they said you need to think outside the box. But to think outside the box, you really need to get to know the box.
Yeah.
How does it work? What's inside the box? What are the rules of the box? How are things done? How did other startups do it? How do investors think? How do you sell, or how do you do marketing? So you try to understand exactly how others are doing in order to do it slightly differently, so you have some kind of a competitive edge.
Yeah, I think that's maybe also a core competence or thing that you need to have as a startup founder, being curious. We had another founder in an episode here as well, Isabel from Just Lawyers. She's a lawyer, and she wanted to start a web platform, a software business. And she also was curious, how does development work? And she started listening podcasts and getting into software development, so she knew what decisions she had to make. So I feel from a lot of founders that I talk with that being curious and really diving deep into these kind of topics helps them forward. And you're again proof
yeah, exactly.
that this is a good thing.
Because, I mean, as I said, there are a million ways to fail. And we've been through some of these moments where we just had like, oh my God, why did we jump into it? Or just like, oh, we're such amateurs. Like, how come we're so naive? And you just learn, and then you move on, and you go to the next. I mean, in the startup journey, the highs are very high, but the lows are also very low. And but I think the most important thing is that you have a good team that you can really rely on. Like, well, if everything else fails, yeah, as long as we stick together and keep building, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, figuring it out. All right, really interesting. Another topic I wanted to talk about is marketing, sales, or go-to-market strategies. You obviously had your background in journalism to get your first customer or customers, but what were the other things that you had to do, or did you have to do some ninja moves to get some first customers in, or how did that go?
I think, it was just... just trying every possible angle, whether it's LinkedIn outreach or a cold email or something. We started offering people pizza. Hey, we have pizza. Do you have 50 minutes time that we can steal from your lunch? And those kind of things. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and they just kind of learn. We also did a lot of things like we believed in the philosophy of doing things that don't scale. Like, especially when you're an early stage startup, you have to do things that don't scale, which means going to offices of your prospects as founders. These are obviously not scalable in the long run, but in the beginning, you really have to do it. You go. Do these presentations, but also long workshops with them, and really trying to understand their specific problem, really going in deep to it, create trust. Those are the things that we did. But also, on the one hand, create trust. But to get trust, you have to be seen as an expert in the field. Mm-hmm. So also doing a lot of talks, giving presentations. One of I think the craziest thing that we did, or that we were able to accomplish was that we were invited by the U.S. government, by the U.S. Department of Commerce last summer. They were interested in one of our specific solutions that we're building, of how to make data AI ready, and how to get insights, or how to talk with data, how to make government open data AI ready, and stuff like that. and they said like, oh, we're doing this event soon. And they said, if you can, you come, but obviously you're from Europe very fast. Definitely come. I just went there. When we were there, we tried every trick of the book to get all kinds of meetings. We had a meeting with the World Bank and all kinds of government institutions. Yeah, it was really fun.
And was it easy as a small early stage Belgium startup to get a meeting with these organizations?
Yeah, you can only try. So you can only get a no. We asked around, like, I don't know, US, Belgian embassy in the US, or all kinds of organizations. Like, hey, can
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. Can you hook up us with some people meeting? In general, we learned that people are willing to help if you ask.
Yeah. That's maybe also a big mentality you also have in like Silicon Valley, where they just pay it forward and help each other. Is it something that you also feel is happening here in Belgium, or?
Well, not as much as in the US. Like I noticed that after every meeting I had with someone from the US, the question is, okay, how can I help you? Can you give, can I bring you in contact with these people? And they immediately do warm introductions, and it's really this pay it forward culture, which is not so much here. But I think we can. We definitely try to build that culture here.
Yeah,
because giving without expecting something back, but when you give, something always returns.
Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Talking about the US customers you have right now, it's mainly based in Belgium or Europe.
Yeah.
But the next steps are global expansion, US market as well, or how do you see that?
That's definitely the dream, but not only just like, the typical having the American dream, but one of the things is that we feel that, and we understand that in UK or in London or in New York, literally, actually, these big cities, these companies have a much maturer data culture compared to here. When you say like, okay, we want to work with you, but your data needs to be clean. And that's a problem. We want to work with you, but you need a data catalog. And that's a problem. We don't have that. There are a couple of prerequisites or conditions where to make the AI agent work. Then we have to find those companies who have a bit more mature data culture.
Okay. So what are the next steps now for Wobby?
Well, the next step is because we pivoted into this new direction of AI agents for structured data. And so that also means we need to have a new go-to-market. So now we're focusing more on larger enterprises who has a data team, who can set these connections up, who can set the guardrails that the AI agent needs to get accurate results. We're as I said, some of our customers joined in this vision. So we're looking for new customers so we can really make this agentic AI dream reality.
Okay. Nice. Very nice. It's time for us to wrap up, because I think we're gonna close the frituur as well quite soon.
Yeah.
I have one final question with you, and it's one question we ask to every guest here on the show. So at PandaPanda, we like to do things differently. We call it being beastly in a positive way. One of the things that we do is we shoot a podcast in frituur and not in a soundproof studio. But what was one of the beastly moments that you had within Wobby, a time that you like really broke the mold and you succeeded because of it?
I think you say beastly, but we say it being an animal.
Being an animal.
So if you work at Wobby, you have to be an animal. The type of person that goes beyond just the basic 9 to 5. So in a sense, we're living every day or beastly
the whole
lives,
time.
The whole time. But if I would point out to some particulars, I think being invited by the U.S. government was definitely one of them.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. I think, our very first version or very first pitch to iStart, where we had this proof of concepts that only had one data and you could only ask one specific question, that we just had enough time to record it. But then we gave the pitch and it's like, hey, we're building this amazing thing. And and then the fact that they just they believed in the vision, that was definitely for us like one of those beastly moments. There is something like fake it till you make it. That's what's been said a lot in startup. But I believe that you can only fake certain things that you can be sure. That you're certain of that you will fix it.
Yeah.
That you're capable of doing.
You can, but
you can, but just not there yet. But,
yeah.
And for us, this belief was something that really brought us very far, because even though we're saying like, okay, this is what we have now, soon we'll have something there, but as long as you can deliver that, then it's fine.
All right.
So yeah.
The essence of Wobby is just being beastly then. So it's a value that we share. Being an animal. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Amra. That's it for today's business Speciàl. Thank you very much for coming over here.
Thank you for your invitation.
Yeah, I hope you can still enjoy your fries. I want to do a shout out to Frituur Arena here in Antwerpen and Youssef for hosting us, serving these fries. Big thanks to Vince, our producer, for making everything sound and look amazing. And we will see and hear you next time.
Business Speciàl.